Guys, it's your boy Atypical Security Guard. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 tips for security guards who are struggling working in a retail environment. So there's a lot of issues in terms of just rampant retail theft. Right now, you can't really turn on the news. You can't turn on social media without seeing things like smash and grabs, store takeovers. Just unabashed retail theft, and I work in that environment. I see a lot of people that come into the industry. This is a big area for security guards right now. So if you're working for anything from some of the large box companies like Allied Universal, Securitas, or if you're working for some of these more private entities, more than likely at some point in time you're going to end up in a retail environment. It can be extremely stressful for security guards when you're working in that environment. It can be even a bigger issue when you're seeing things on the news or you're talking to people in your family or your friend circle that kind of look at you like you're the problem, like you're the issue. One thing that I hear repeatedly at one of the locations that I work at from the customers is, why aren't you guys doing anything? I saw this person stuff this in their bag. I saw this person take this. I saw this person run out. Some of the comments that I've heard are, I come here every single day or I come here every single week and I see you standing at the door and you allow people to walk out. Guys, look, if you're working in a security capacity, you are a contracted employee, right? I've tried to explain to people many times, and I think that most people understand this, but the average person gets so frustrated, right? If you're a sane, sober, moral human being, it's hard to just watch what is happening to our country, what is happening to our society, and in a very small scale, what's happening to a lot of the businesses and the stores in our area. Now, that doesn't seem to change people's voting patterns, right? But it can be frustrating, so I get that. But unfortunately, like they say in the military and in business, shit rolls downhill. And for the private security guard, we end up catching a lot of that flack. So what do you do if you're a security guard working in that environment? You're in that capacity, you're just trying to do your job, and you're getting frustrated. I'm going to give you my 5 tips. I've got some notes here. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm getting a little bit older, and sometimes I can't remember things just off the dome like I used to. So number 5, there has to be a level of detachment, right? If you're working as a security guard, you have to realize, recognize, and accept that you are a small part in a very much larger machine. Here in Portland, the end all be all of whether or not people are prosecuted, whether or not people are held accountable, that's the district attorney. If the district attorney takes the stance that he doesn't want to see homeless people or drug addicts or people with mental illness being held accountable for their crimes, at the end of the day, they won't be. It doesn't matter if the police response is swift and quick or if the police response is non-existent. The result is going to be the same. If the district attorney is not going to prosecute, then the jail is not going to house. Therefore, the police are not going to respond. And that entire circle comes right back to the private security guard. We're there in a capacity where the only thing that we can do from the business's standpoint, they have come to the point where they are left with no other option than to protect their employees, protect their clients, and take the loss for whatever walks out that door. Now, a lot of companies are getting to the point where they're trying to make changes. They're doing anything and everything they can to try and slow down that loss of product. But in the end, the only thing that these companies can do is say, hey, look, let's protect our clients, let's protect our customers, let's protect our employees, put that at the paramount, and then we'll deal with the ramifications that come from the business side later on. Number 4, let me get back to that. So in terms of detachment, you as a security guard, you can't take that personal. That's something that I see so many officers deal with, is that you're working in that capacity, and if you don't understand what I just laid out, if you don't understand that and you don't recognize that and you don't take it to heart, you are going to respond to those negative comments. You're going to respond to those hit pieces that news organizations put out about security guards that are just standing there. There's videos from the Apple store, there's videos from the Gucci store where people are coming in. There's 15, 20 people. 15, 20 people all masked up. They come in, they do smash and grabs, and then on the news, The thought process and the story is that the one private security guard, many times unarmed, is just standing there and watching it happen. Well, they're standing there and watching it happen, number one, because that's the post order that they've been given, right? And number two, you've created a society where you've given more power and authority to the criminal. And number three, the vast majority of the news organizations that are complaining, the vast majority of the voters that are complaining, the people in the cities or the municipalities that have issues with the security guards not doing anything, they vote to disarm people. They vote to disarm people. They vote to not allow security guards to carry firearms, to not access training, all of the things, right? So you as a guard, you have to detach yourself and who you are as a person from the job that you're doing. Otherwise, it will drive you crazy. Number four is that you have to compartmentalize. What do I mean by that? You have to compartmentalize the one aspect of the job that you're responsible for, the cog in the wheel that you are. For me, at the location that I work in, my job is to protect the people that are there, whether that's the customers, the clients, the associates, and I take that job extremely, extremely seriously. I do not stress myself out or put a lot of stock into the things that I can't control. I have a very specific job and I am paid to do a very specific job, and I focus on that aspect of why I'm there. If you're like a lot of security guards who are working in a retail establishment, you're working in, a shopping center or a shopping mall, there's too much what I call guard dogging. What's guard dogging? Guard dogging is just the security guard that's like this, right? You're all in the garage, you're all in the parking lot, you're all in the business of, you know, what the executives are doing, what the stock price is like people that are too involved in the everyday existence of that location that has nothing to do with you, right? If you're taking on too much responsibility, the responsibility of whether or not the contract is going to continue, whether or not you're getting paid adequately, compared to some other aspect of the business, whether or not, they're going to change the post orders, all of the things that come along with the business aspect of working in the private security industry. If you're not compartmentalizing and staying in your lane, you're going to drive yourself crazy. I tell you this from firsthand experience because I'm that kind of a person. I'm the kind of person that sees everything in 360 degrees, right? I feel that I'm very good in terms of having a critical thinking mindset. I feel that I can kind of see the big picture. And a lot of times, the ability to understand the greater dynamics at play can be very, very, very tiring, can be very stressful. And if you're like me, your mind never stops racing. Like I think about all that stuff, right? Just come in, do your job, work that little small area of the contract, do the absolute best, and then move on about your day. Um, that was number four. What was number three? Number three is lean into what you can control. So, right, if you're compartmentalizing and recognizing that you can only do what you can do, you can only affect the one area or the one avenue of the security contract that you're working, lean into that one area. Again, I've said that I take my position and what I do extremely seriously. I try to be the absolute best officer that I can in that capacity. That is my advice for number three, is to lean into that. If your job is not a supervisory role, don't try to supervise people. If your job is not to, worry about aspects of the financial side of the contract, don't worry about that. If your job is to protect, be a good protector. Train. Learn how to be better with your pistol. If you're not an armed guard, learn how to be better in terms of de-escalation or communication tactics. Find ways to be better medically trained in case something were to happen. Start being more situationally aware. Like, how can you benefit the contract itself, benefit the company that you're working for, and then also make yourself a more effective officer so that down the line, no matter what happens with that contract, you're always a hireable and desirable officer. Lean into the aspect of the job that you can be successful with, okay? Number two, very important, these last two. Number two is acceptance. When I talk about acceptance, again, this is something that I have a very, very, very difficult time with. I feel like I'm making these videos for me sometimes. It's my internal voice talking to the guy in the camera, which is me. Acceptance is that you can't change things. You can work in a location for years. You as a security guard, if you're working in that location, you're on patrol, you've worked the day shift, the night shift, the overnight shift. If you've worked at a location longer than a year, you have great insight. I would say that you have more boots on the ground, no pun intended, insight as to what would be successful in terms of security, what would be successful in terms of like, um, you know, uh, entrance and control points, anything that goes into the aspect of protecting that building and protecting those people. You probably have a better insight into that than your supervisor, than the president of the company that you work for, than the CEO of the people that you have the contract with. You're the guy because you're there. You see it, right? You see the people that come in. You see the things that happen at that business. You see the type of theft. You see the type of violence. You know where the drugs are. You know where the drug dealer is. You have an insight into the inner workings of that situation more so than anybody else. But guess what? You're a security guard. Because you're a security guard, you don't have the ability to share that information, to give that information, or to see that the changes from the information that you have, share, or give is put into practice. You're not the guy. At the end of the day, no matter how right you are, at the end of the day, no matter how much your information could benefit the machine, it doesn't matter. People in management, hang on a second. People in management will go out of their way to make a different decision before they will take your advice, solely because of the position that you occupy, right? There's a great story in the Bible about Joseph, right? Who was ultimately he becomes the confidant to the Pharaoh, right? Because he has these dreams. He has these dreams and he can see these visions of things that are going to happen, famine and problems and all this stuff. But his position is that he's a slave, right? Only because the Pharaoh said, no, I want this guy to be my advisor. Like he made that decision. But before that, nobody else wanted to listen to him because of the position that he held. You have to accept that because of the position that you hold as a security guard, your opinion, your thoughts, the things that you see, the information that you can provide, more than likely will fall on deaf ears. And you have to be okay with that. Because if that is something that bothers you, if that's something that gets to you, if that's something that weighs heavy on your soul, it will make your job absolutely miserable. Okay? The number one thing that you have to do is that if you can't detach, if you can't compartmentalize, if you can't find a way to lean into what you are good at, if you can't accept all of this, the number one tip is that you have to quit. You have to quit. You have to do something else. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the ramifications of you staying in that environment are potentially deadly. I don't care if you're working as an unarmed guard. We talk a lot about armed security guards that go off the rails, right? There are no shortages of videos. There's no shortage of videos out there of security guards, armed security guards, getting into situations where they pull their firearm and someone is either harmed or killed. There's equally a large number of videos of unarmed security guards tombstone power driving and DDTing people on concrete. Equally, right? There's videos of security guards running motherfuckers over with their car. Like it doesn't end and it doesn't start and end with just armed security. I think that a large part of the things that we see, we always relegate it to training. They need more training. Security guards need more training. They need more training. No, no. What they need is to be put into a situation where this conversation is explained to them over and over and over again. Hey, the frustration that you are going to feel from the way that people look at the job that you do, the little snide comments that you get, the microaggressions, all the BS that you deal with in every aspect of this career, if you can't handle it when you start to get to that point where you're breaking, you have to leave, because you're going to hurt somebody, or you're going to put yourself in a situation where you get harmed or you get hurt. These are 5 extremely simple tips, very simple principles, but they are so hard. They're so hard to put into practice. They're hard for me, and I'm making the fucking video. So for some of y'all who don't communicate, think, or have critical thinking skills, it's going to be very, very hard for you. That's not a shot at you. Like, we're all being honest here, right? If I can be honest that this is something that I deal with, I can be honest and say that most of you people out there watching this video ain't going to fucking do it. And I'm going to read about you on Reddit, busting somebody's fucking head open. All right, let me look at these comments real quick. A lot of comments. You know what? Generally, I don't read the comments. My wife is over here. We're about to have breakfast. We're not doing a normal wife and husband podcast. I'm doing this for you guys, okay? Normally, I don't read the comments. Anytime that I take time to read the comments, if I start reading them out loud, somebody says something out of pocket. It generally starts with the letter N and ends with the letter R, right?
People say that out there?
Yes, people call me that all the time. Yeah. Somebody says, hi from Skid Row, Los Angeles. Show, what's up, man? The guards. What are your thoughts on people calling me the N-word, Morgan? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts, but I don't think you want me to say it on camera. I will.
You can say it. I'm almost done with the stream. You can say whatever you want to say.
Say, fuck you, you fucking asshole! I would say it to your face, you little fucking pussy. God damn it!
See,
And
all right.
anyone
No,
stop it.
Stop it.
Fuck me.
I don't want to get her.
I told you.
I don't want to see how easy it is to get her riled up. That's why she can't work in private security, because she cannot keep it like this, right? You got to be, listen. Bonus.
I know this.
Stop. Bonus point. Bonus tip. Working in security, you have to be able to control your emotions. Right now, Roadhouse just came out. The remake with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor, which is horrible, by the way. Okay, I don't say that because I have a problem with remakes. I don't have a problem with remakes. Okay, Conor McGregor is a horrible actor. Only because Jake Gyllenhaal is the man. Me and my wife agree. Jake Gyllenhaal is the man. He carried that movie. But in the original Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze, when he gets to the bar, he's talking to the bouncers. And the bouncers in Roadhouse are security guards, right? They're unarmed security guards. And in the original Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze is talking to the guys, and he's like, look, our job is to be nice. Someone, calls you a motherfucker, I want you to be nice. Someone threatens to meet you outside, I want you to be nice. Someone tells you that your mom is a fucking piece of shit, I want you to be nice. I want you to be nice and continue to be nice until it's time to not be nice. That is a great dialogue in that movie that encapsulates not only private security, but carrying yourself as a person in general. My wife, as beautiful as she is, as sweet as she is, and as much as I love her, she is a woman. A woman, I'm about to get controversial here, okay? A woman has the authority to fly off the handle. They can be emotional. They can be irrational. They can be unrealistic in their approach to things in public. They can be aggressive. Why? Because they're a woman. At the end of the day, for the most part, a woman can act that way and there's no repercussion or consequence. Guys, I am probably at this point 270, maybe I might even be 275 at this point. I'm a big guy. Morgan has seen footage of me when I have to go hands-on with somebody. If I don't have restraint and an understanding of what the consequences could be of me going full board and going red on someone, I would really hurt someone. I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I say that because there's an understanding that you have to have as a guard, as an officer, and as a man, that you don't put yourself in those situations. I can't get, I hate to use, words that are popular in politics right now. I can't get triggered because someone calls me the N-word. A lot of people would love to see me get emotional and aggressive and do something so that they could get me to lose my job. A lot of people would love to see me get upset, emotional, and aggressive so that I would threaten them or say something on this platform so they could take my channel. A lot of people would love to see me come out of pocket so that they could have something on me to where I'm not on national television. It doesn't work like that. I'm 40, almost 46. I'm 46 years old. And I'm very good at what I do. And part of understanding that dynamic is knowing when it's time to flip the switch. And if you're working in the security guard industry, you can't allow that switch to be accessed by another person. If you're a woman, they're going to call you all kinds of things. They're going to say things to you. If you're overweight, they're going to tell you you're overweight. If you're short, they're going to tell you you're short, right? If you're ugly, they're going to tell you you're ugly. Like whatever it is, whatever that little thing is, that's the button they're going to try and push. And they're pushing it because they know that you are standing on that pad, you're standing in that environment by that door, and that you are working because you need that job. We're not doing security because we want to be fucking security guards for the most part, right? And people get a little tinge of joy, especially in Portland. The vast majority of these beta males, these crackheads, people that have nothing going for them, they would never have a negative interaction with me dressed like this on the street. They would never do that. But when I'm in uniform, they know that I'm tied to that paycheck. And more than likely, I'm going to not do something, right? And when someone's on the other side of one of these screens, they don't have to see me, right? So it's important for you guys to understand that dynamic. Don't allow people to flip that switch on you. Don't allow them to trigger you to the point that you overreact and you respond in a way that can get you jammed up. All diesel and no brakes. A few months ago, I pushed and robbed a man for calling me the N-word in front of a hella white. So I had to draw a line for everyone. This will be the last thing that I talk about. Drawing the line in the sand. That's something that is a prevalent statement in private security, right? You'll hear guards say that. I had to let them know. I had to let people know. I get it. I understand. And sometimes you do have to make sure that people know that even though you generally snarl and bark, you are capable of biting. Just be aware that that comes with consequences. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. My co-host over here. That comes with consequences. Okay. All right. I'm going to eat some breakfast. I'll see you guys later. Be great.